recording.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this another chat show with Rachit and myself. Today's topic is very interesting, and yeah, a bit of we'll try to share a bit of our experience to make everyone's life easy, and we'll see how that goes. So, we are going to discuss about service updates, proactive quality updates, and the future management. Right. And let's start with the service updates. I believe we are facing service updates now very frequently. You will see a lot of emails from Microsoft and so on. So what is the service updates are actually? So service updates are continuous packages coming from Microsoft to make sure your systems are with the latest version. Now, earlier we used to have 7 updates in a year, right, Rojit? So now Microsoft is going to reduce them from 7 to 4. And I don't want to take the blame, okay, what those 4 months will be. So now we are recording this video on 28th of April. So by that time, the people are looking at this video, maybe in another month or so, they may change. So yes, there will be 4 updates in every year, and Microsoft pushing it very hard to all those customers to take minimum 2 updates in a year, in a calendar year, not and maximum they can take 4 updates in a year. Now there are different dates Microsoft publish, right? So would you like to take that part? Like I know you had some a bit different experience around the dates which Microsoft publish uh, on document site.
Yeah, sure, Deepak. Service updates have been a very interesting and curious area since the dawn of FNO Evergreen version.
Yeah,
So one thing is that the benefit of service updates is that all the customer gets access to all the new features for free, which was the vision of the Microsoft when they launched finance and operations as a platform. It has some of its benefits, but in order for us as customers and partners to make the most out of those benefits, we have to understand the nitty-gritties of how it works and what are our responsibilities to make sure things are flowing in with the best practices in place. So with service updates, as you mentioned, till last year or till Feb this year in 2024, there used to be 7 releases or 7 service updates released per year.
yeah,
And even then, the customers were required to take a minimum 2 in a year, because at that time they can skip up to 3. But as of
yes,
now, after Feb 2024, Microsoft has reduced that to 4 service updates in a year, but still you have to consume minimum 2 in 1 year, and which means that you can only skip one version. So for example, if you are on 10.0.39, you can skip 10.0.40, but you have to consume 10.0.41. So, and with regards to date, there are dates published on Microsoft Learn, but also when you go to your LCS project settings page, there you can see a update calendar which is specific to your project, and those dates which are shown in LCS may slightly vary to what's on Microsoft Learn. So make sure that when you do any forward planning of consumption of service updates for your projects, look at the dates from LCS and then you plan backwards. Yeah.
yeah. And interestingly, Rachit, when I look at this calendar available on Microsoft Learning site, right, it sounds like when a update is available, generally available, Microsoft normally, before they call it end of the service or stop producing any further hot fixes, the time frame is very small. It's 9 month, right? And so I see Microsoft coming very hard to their customers. So yeah, it's bit of up and down things for them, but yeah, this is the way we are moving ahead now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you raised an interesting point, Deepak, because end of service column in that table is also confusing for some customers. So,
Mhm.
end of service for a particular version number means that Microsoft will not release any new hot fixes on that version. It it
Yes.
is not same as like Microsoft will not support you if you are on that version, but it is more about Microsoft is not releasing any hot fixes, and the timeline is basically like as you said, around 9 months. So by that time, customers will anyway be on the next higher version.
Yes. And speaking about the timelines, again, I'm referring the same table which is available on the Microsoft site that says the two dates are available there, right? Something auto update, upgrade dates. So user can skip only the first date from LCS, not the second one. So it means when, for an example, the 10.39, the latest date available for me, at least for my projects, that says 3rd of May. So I'm forced to upgrade all my environments before the 3rd of May. And as you said, yeah, the dates could be different. So depends when you're watching these videos, everyone, please make sure you are referring the latest document site along with your LCS calendar.
Yeah, yeah. And it is important to keep these things in forward planning, Deepak, because you cannot just uh, get away from these service updates. See, there will be a point where Microsoft will auto update your environments if you have not been consuming them in the right uh, at the right time. And I have seen few instances where customers are in a panic mode and they don't want their environments to be upgraded. And at that point, it's really tricky and very difficult situation. So the best thing to mitigate these type of situations is do a forward plan, discuss
Yep.
with your architects and partners on when the environments will be updated, and have a plan in place, have some placeholders in your calendars where you can discuss the consumption of auto update with your partners, and then plan it accordingly. I would also like to mention, as you said, Microsoft has released this new thing again. So they have reduced the number of auto updates, but they have given customers extra flexibility. When you pause the auto updates, it is now giving you two different windows. So you have first auto update pause window, and then second auto update pause window. And depending on where your project is, how your roadmap is looking, you have more flexibility there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you mentioned in one of our other conversation, like some customer wants to perform the upgrades by themselves, right? Would you like to touch upon that?
Yeah, I would like to say, like, I'm happy for, like, if the customer has an in-house capability and they have people who understand how this whole process works. It's definitely good to have that control over the applications, but don't just let the auto updates flow into the system as a normal day in life or situation. Like, make sure someone is validating what's going into production, uh, because service updates can be controlled by the customer or the partner. There are another type of updates which are called as proactive quality updates, which are released by Microsoft, and we as a customer or partner cannot control them. But service updates, because they introduce new features, they also introduce deprecation of old features. So it can cause breaking changes in your environment. So, and if you have custom code running, if you have ISV solutions installed, it's always the best practice to first build the custom code on the latest version in a dev machine to make sure there are no breaking changes. And if there are, they need to be taken care of. So if the people in your team, they understand the process, happy for customers to take ownership and lead the charge. But always consult with an expert who can guide the team in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the service updates also sometimes have the regulatory updates, and I
True.
believe no one wants to mess with the regulatory updates. For example, recently, I think a couple of years back, there was a GST update in EX 2012, and now I think in 2018 or 19 somewhere, the GDPR for European countries. So you rightly mentioned, Rohit. So whenever there is a service update available, it's important the right person do a bit of testing around that. So make sure, okay, this is what available and this is what we need to get into in future.
Yeah.
And service updates, and another important thing about the service updates, so we have feature management in FNO. With every service update, what Microsoft is doing, so for an example, let's say we are in 10.0.38 now. So there are three features which are not enabled by default. You need to go to feature management workspace, enable them. But in 10.0.39, now a couple of them are enabled by default. For example, invoice capturing, right? So this is also a great feature. So all those features which are tested well, accepted by customer, so Microsoft making them by default unable to use them. All those things needs a bit of planning and testing. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Rajit. That should be done by the right set of people.
Yeah, and that brings us also to an interesting point that it's not a pure technical play where someone in your IT department is running a build and ensuring there are no breaking changes. But someone from your business sites should also look at the feature management workspace, what's new, and if the features are new, which are useful for the business, how they can leverage it, and if something is getting deprecated, is there a business impact on the processes which people are doing day to day. So there has to be a layer of technical as well as functional vetting of the new service update before it rolls out into production. And feature management can sometimes be quite, I think now, because the frequency of service updates is reduced, which means Microsoft is going to release more features in that window. Before, we used to get seven small bite size drip feeds of these service updates, but now because we are only getting four, so
Mhm.
each service update, I believe, will have more features. That means more work for functional people to review what's new, what's the impact, and then, of course, using regression testing, RSET tools should gain more popularity now because it will add more value to the business by making sure that if we are in consuming a bigger chunk of new features, then how do we make sure it's not breaking something?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this whole service update is a big topic now. It's not something which just keeps
Yeah, yeah. And
updating
I hope
your application.
yeah, we are sharing our real time experience, Rashid. So I believe people who are watching this video, they can relate to it and they can make a more accurate decisions or more confidently maybe. So
Yeah,
now another thing I just wanted to touch upon that the first release program for Microsoft. So users can enroll there. There's a form. Maybe I'll put a link in the chat as well. So that allows their customers to take the service updates more promptly. And when they enroll with this program, they'll get more accurate Microsoft support. So Microsoft only manage their UAT and production updates.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great program which Microsoft is running. So customers who are interested to participate, I think they can fill in a form which is available on Microsoft Docs website, and then they can take it forward with Microsoft. I think one another important thing with these service updates and PQU updates is, Deepak, we want to also touch base on is the whole process is also going through DevOps. So what happens is when you first update your dev machine, but then if you are using Azure hosted build pipelines, for example, and you have NuGet packages in your DevOps checked in against which your build pipelines are running, you have to update those NuGet packages as well.
Mhm.
So it requires a bit of a refactoring in your build pipeline configuration files to point to the new NuGet packages. So
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
is a bit of a technical work even after you validate that, let's say there are no breaking changes, you still have to update your DevOps, generate a package, merge it with Microsoft standard package, deploy it. So that way the journey is more smooth. And
And more
also,
control.
yeah, and more control, of course.
Yeah.
ALM is such a key part now of the whole process. And there are now, one more thing I want to highlight is extension framework is really great framework. We build extensions which are backward compatible, but there can be instances where Microsoft may change the method declaration from public to private, or it may tag a method as deprecated, and your custom code may start throwing a compilation error. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen quite rarely. For example, if someone has, let's say, extended some very core framework classes which Microsoft is changing in the new versions, So in those type of situations, we have to make sure that the new version is
Yeah.
able to, our custom code is able to compile on the new version. So yeah, make sure that we do these type of technical wettings when consuming service updates. Yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, maybe we are towards the end of this video, Rachit. Let's quickly touch base on the productive quality updates timelines. So I heard Microsoft claiming like it's near zero downtime. And even before, I'll take another couple of seconds. So what is PQUs basically, right? So we don't have any control on that. Microsoft decide, okay, this is my product, and I'm going to apply a productive quality updates. So any
Yeah.
thoughts around that?
Yeah. So PQU is basically like patching of your current version. You can think of it like hot fixes, which are related to the version you are currently running. So it does not introduce new features in the application, but it does fixes the bugs, and some platform fixes are released which are applicable on that version. And that is the reason it doesn't require a lot of regression testing or uh, validation of breaking changes, because these type of hot fixes, they do not break any custom code, because your custom code is already running on that particular platform. So because the nature of proactive quality updates, PQU, is that so Microsoft automatically pushes these to your production environment and non-production environment. You do get a LCS notification email that a PQU is scheduled. There is a schedule defined on Microsoft Learn where they call it like trains, like in different countries are in different trains. So when a particular train is running, your region is a part of that train, and your all the environments get updated. It generally is done in dark hours as per Microsoft Learn. So it generally happens at 1 a.m. or 12:30 a.m. However, I have noticed that even though Microsoft claims it's near uh, zero downtime, it can take up to an hour. Uh, as of now, in like let's say April 2024, it still takes an hour to consume these PQUs. I hope it will get down to zero downtime in future. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think that's all for this video, everyone. So thank you for staying with us till end of this video. I hope you'll take a lot of good things from this video, and please feel free to drop your comments if you want to discuss any topic in the future.
Yeah, feel free to drop your questions in the comment and we will reply to it. And thank you for joining us today. Yeah, thanks Deepak for organizing it.
Thanks, Rachit.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.